Yeah, I suppose it's kind of hit or miss when they come, if they're in the mini 3:30 or.
Wendy.
Yep.
I have a conference call scheduled with our governmental affairs person tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. We will take all the help we can get.
Yep. I'm gonna see if I can push that envelope.
Super. Appreciate it.
Get your foot in the crack of the door and then.
I'm gonna be more like a bull in a china shop, Doc.
That's good. We like those.
That's what we need.
They're fine too.
In the back, if we aren't talking enough, there's someone back there, but the name is Bunny, and she's going to raise her hand. How's this? Can you hear me? Yeah. You almost have to swallow the microphone for it to work.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on, yeah.
To be close, yeah.
That's probably good, though, they'd hear what we're saying up here. If they would hear our little conversation.
It's good, right? Got it. Okay, you say so.
We want you to be heard. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I am the collective voice.
She
We
is.
don't want to remember the face, and we don't want to know the name, but we want to know what was said.
Well, I'll give him the 15-minute grace period.
I'll end up giving them more than that, Wendy.
I know. Before I start getting annoyed is what happens. I'll give him the 15-minute grace.
I know, that's what I was just gonna do, see how many emails
For
I'm
my-
way behind on.
Patience level starts to fade.
So you went up to the Capitol then on Thursday, too, on last week Thursday?
Yep, last Thursday we went up and, met with a couple of the representatives and did a press release and a little rally. It was, I mean, there wasn't a lot of showing.
I mean, if worse got to worse and this got scrubbed,
Spent so much time.
I would tell
driving
him,
up.
everybody's going to talk and he's going to record it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a lot of time and.
I would wait till like 3:15 and then we could start doing that. And then if she comes on, we'll
We
just,
didn't go over to the Capitol because
so I would, like at 3:15, if she's not,
we decided we'll start that.
and if she comes on, we'll stop it. But otherwise, they don't have to sit here and wait for half an hour or whatever.
I think our bus trip up there, though, that was pretty good, you know, we had that day when we all took the couple buses.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the only bad part was one of our people they were supposed to testify.
they didn't get to.
Yeah.
They arranged.
You know,
Oh, yeah, that is kind of.
We have a plan. Yeah,
I see, I
we
didn't know
will be
all those
heard, no
logistics.
matter what.
I could see
I
where
just want
that
to make
would
sure
be. I
Jana
knew you
knows
had
that.
organized
I
it
called
all.
her,
That was very
I
clear.
called St.
They
John's,
paid for the buses,
but I
they
left the
got
message.
funding, you know, 'cause
And I
it was
said, you
all
know, if you're
free
going to
and
drive,
everything.
but we'll try and get Springfield in here.
It was, it was a big investment.
They're all part of the county.
So we weren't real for help.
It is, it's almost like leading age they want you to advocate like this, but they want to kind of be in control. They don't want you to say the wrong thing or something, maybe, I don't know.
Yep, so they had somebody from the help write the script. In my opinion.
Yeah, it has to come from the heart, you know, like what. Good testimony that way from the heart and when we met with our local. But
How much is that? Right. Yeah. No, that was really good. If I could have been in
That
front
could
of
have
other.
I'm sure you were. I just didn't remember. I didn't sit by you on the bus, so or in your vicinity.
Still have board meetings at 7 in the morning.
We moved it to noon.
Oh,
So there, not a positive.
when you're retired.
Right. Even when you're not retired, it's a
That may
positive.
be true too. You don't have to be.
Yeah, we don't
quite
mind it.
so early.
Right.
it's hard that early in the morning.
Was hard. Yeah.
dropped at school and all that.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting spoiled by watching TV till midnight.
Oh,
And then sleeping in a little later.
So getting up.
One more
early
episode on Netflix. Just one more.
to get off in the boards and eat early in the morning.
That's awesome.
I start on Netflix. I get into the mid of season 2, and then I'm like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, I'll look at, because I know I have a couple that are going off.
It depends.
DC that have to get off it, yeah. That'll have
Then you start
had
kind of
their
watching
three.
something else. or
3.
Maybe you come back to it, but I'm kind of that way too. But there have been a few shows where you really.
No, that's
you
that would be
hated for
great.
them to
It's always
end,
good to have someone who's had some.
But some of them, they can't compete
know,
with the
yeah,
first season.
and just had some history of everything.
Did that one too, and I never got all of it done either. I don't even know though if I got the first season done.
Season 1, and then somewhere in season 2, it got a little off far-fetched, and then I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good. So do you go like to the Vogel Arena and do some walking?
whatever.
and-
I was like, why would you take him back? So then I'm mad, and then I'm like, okay, I can't.
I can't watch
We
this
need
no
to
more.
move on.
But money's slow.
But some of them are frustrating too because they're trying to accomplish something, and they just every time they almost get there, then they don't. I have a setback, and then they work on it again, and it's like, oh, then something else, and finally you're like, I just can't have this up and down no more.
I had enough of that in life. I don't need.
Mile, or cut a minute off.
That's good. That's awesome.
He's looking perplexed, I wanted to say,
good. That's
I know he's
awesome.
here.
Yeah.
Was our audience pretty much like more
Gotta
family
ask.
members
Can't
of
Citizens.
citizens about
Six.
where their loved
is your
ones
wife
or
about
where
the
they're
same
gonna
age?
go in the
Point,
future?
are you going to be texting them and say, we're here?
I needed that. I needed
To
her.
be honest, no.
I was
I
29.
think we
She was
just do our
33.
thing, and if she's not here when we're done, we leave.
Usual too.
Because it says a lot about
that's good.
them to not show up for an appointment they made.
Person.
Oh, well, that's
And I
good.
found her.
Oh, isn't that great?
But then that meant
Plus,
I
we
was
don't need the Senate as much as we need the House. She's a senator, so.
Right. Maybe she got called away. I'll give her a little slack.
Yeah.
Leave. Wayne's had it.
And you're planning on hightailing it out of there then?
That was the plan.
That's okay.
until 2 months before marriage, I was
You
off
may want to do your thing.
and
You-
they said,
I would
"You gotta
anytime,
wait."
just,
She's off for the price, you gotta wait.
Now we should start. Okay, well, we had a waiting period. We thought maybe 15 minutes. Something must have gone awry, but we're going to make use of this time, believe me, because this is being recorded, okay? And we'll start out, first of all, we were going to be meeting with Senator Karin, Karin Housley, Housley. She actually comes from the northeastern metro area. She represents Forest Lake and Stillwater and a couple other areas up there. And we had this scheduled to start at 3 o'clock, but we know that things get busy. And I can tell you that several of us were up at the Capitol on Veterans Day, which was last Thursday. And my impression when I got out of the Capitol, and I'm trying to be respectful, I thought I was at the Apple Valley Zoo. I thought there were monkeys flying off of all the walls, and we were part of them. It was a very busy, chaotic place, and in fact, the whole rotunda was filled, the floor and the next 2 levels. So, not to belabor, we want to get your ideas, and we want you to know why we're persisting. And my name is Ann Vogel, and I'm actually a physician. I've been around for a long time, and the reason I'm in this over my neck, not over my head, is that I know what would happen if we lost skilled nursing homes in our area. If anybody in the rural part of Minnesota lost a skilled nursing home, I don't know where these people would go. In the 1970s, when I came back, I used to make house calls because I was practicing with my father and his partner. And I would make house calls, and if somebody had a massive stroke and we didn't have a skilled nursing home, they were at their home with their family struggling, trying to help take care of them. And to have bed sores was not uncommon. And they weren't little ones, not just a little red spot on your heel because you couldn't turn over, or on your sacrum, which is the back of your back on the buttock area, or on your side if you're lying on your side too long. They had gone through the skin, the fat, the fascia, the muscle, and sometimes we're down to the bone. I'll never forget that. And we know how to prevent that. And if we lose skilled nursing homes, that might happen.
Thank you,
Next.
Senator Housley. We're grateful for your time today. We just saw you come on here. My name is Wendy Broderson. I'm with Oak Hills Living Center, and I'm the Fund Development Director. We know we have the support of the Senate, but we are a skilled nursing facility here in New Ulm, Minnesota, and we have some citizens of New Ulm here with us today. Really hoping to get your support for skilled nursing homes and see how we can ask you to help us to keep these facilities here for our residents and for our seniors who built our communities. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Hello. Yes, and I want to say
Hello.
you have one of the best legislative assistants in the whole St. Paul.
Oh,
And her
I'm
name
gonna
should be
tell her
Angel.
that.
And I don't know if she gets this. She's Angelique McDonald. You tell her thank you, thank you, thank you. She was the first and best person I contacted. So,
Oh my gosh, that's so good to hear. I will let her know. I think the same of her too. So thank you so much for that.
Excellent. Well, the long story short for us here at Oak Hills in New Ulm is we're a 94-bed skilled nursing facility. We also have 32 assisted living units. 16 of those are HUD. And so if we are not able to obtain funding from the legislature this year to increase wages and solve a lot of other issues with skilled nursing, like our 21-month delay of rates and Medicaid equalization, unfortunately, our future does not look very bright. So we need to keep our skilled nursing facility here. We have a couple other folks on the panel, which will have more to say too. But we know there's still arguments in the House, on the House side, trying to get funding. From your perspective, what does that look like for us this year?
Well, hopefully you can get meetings with those folks in the House, especially those that sit on the committee that this bill will be going through. I think that's your best bet. You know, you've got every single Republican vote in the Senate. For sure. We even offered another $500 million to Senator John Hoffman last week in our proposal to the Senate Democrats. We offered him to increase his budget by $500 million in order to take care of your problem. They declined that offer. So we were pretty upset because it doesn't seem like it's a priority of Governor Walz or the Democrats. And every single Republican is on board with you because we all see this crisis, and it is a crisis. And we are going to lose so many of our skilled nursing facilities, and we're going to have seniors out on the street. So I encourage you all and anybody who is a resident of your home and family members to reach out to other constituents across the state to contact mostly their Democrat legislators, because that's the only way it's going to get done. And they've been putting up the roadblocks at every turn this year, and it's very, very frustrating. I can't even imagine how frustrating it is for you guys because it's killing us at the Capitol. But this really is a matter of life and death when it comes to these skilled nursing facilities across the state, especially in greater Minnesota.
Let me give you a picture of New Ulm. We have historically had a good number of small towns around us with their own nursing homes. But in just the last year or so, 3 of them have closed. So they look to New Ulm, which only has one nursing home for a population of 14,000 and a kind of a disproportionate elderly in those numbers. So with those 3 closing, all the assisted living's pretty well full, and they are not able to take care of people when they get to the very disabled point. They look to Oak Hills or any other nursing home they can find in the area that isn't full with a long list. We had 191 on the list at the end of last year waiting, and 220 referrals during the year that didn't get on the list. Hospitals in our area are desperate with having to keep absolutely full all the time and having to turn down. I'm a volunteer at Alina Hospital in New Ulm, and every time I go there every Wednesday, there's 31 rooms and there's 31 on the list filling every room. So it's another day goes by where nobody can be brought in unless somebody leaves. So it's just all backed up. And then if you get families that get just desperate. I have a wife with Alzheimer's for a couple years. I have no idea, where that's taking me, but there's certainly no comfort in knowing that everything is full with long waiting lists, and it's becoming just a thing in the area that is very exacerbating.
I'm so sorry to hear that about your wife. We've been through that in my family also, and it's a scary place where you're at, knowing that there could not be a place for her to go if needed. It's horrible. I was just telling somebody the other day that it almost feels like this administration wants to make everybody that lives in greater Minnesota be forced to move to the Twin Cities, and just close all of these nursing homes across the state and just get everybody down here. And it's just wrong because
It's crazy.
I know, but it feels like that.
It does,
honestly
absolutely.
feels like that. Yep. Yep. And it is so wrong. And I'm not seeing any movement toward taking care of our seniors, especially those in greater Minnesota. I don't know. I think you've had a meeting with Senator John Hoffman and Representative Peter Fisher. And I'd be interested to hear what they had to say about it, because the Democrats are all in control and they can do this and they have the money to do it. They're just not doing it. So that's my question is how did they answer that?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Senator Housley, for meeting with us. And also thank you for all your continued support. I've been able to see you for several years now, and I know that how supportive you've been. So thank you. We met with Senator Fisher or Representative Fisher, and he had some false information that he provided to us that there was going to be $800 million set aside for long-term care, and that is not true. And so I think there's a sense of there's false information out there that there is money set aside that there isn't. So I feel like there's not everybody's on the same page on what they're voting on. Also, I just wanted to, mention that we just wrapped up our 2020 cost report, DHS desk audit. That's 2020 that we just wrapped up. So that means that, in essence, we're 3 years behind on what revenue we're able to receive. So that's clearly not keeping up with 2023 expenses.
Yep.
John Hoffman was very supportive and has been very supportive. Peter Fisher, like Candace, she's our administrator at Oak Hills, mentioned he just had some misinformation, and unfortunately that seems to be what is generally understood, is that there is all this money coming and there is no money coming.
Janet Grebner is from one of our Divine Providence in our county, Brown.
Thank you, Senator Housley, for meeting with us, and I'm glad to hear that you do support nursing homes, because that's not what we're feeling, and that's not what the caregivers are feeling. I'm Jana at Divine Providence Community Home in Sleepy, which is another nursing home in the same county. We're in Brown County, and we're having the same issues where our social worker is getting multiple calls all day long. The phones are ringing off the hook for her to take in admissions, and family members members pleading with her to try and take admissions, and we have open beds. We could take admissions. We just don't have the staff to take care of them, and we can't take them in unless we have more staff. And we are, supportive of giving our caregivers a living wage so that we can hire more caregivers, and then we can fill those beds. It wouldn't cost as much just to give the caregivers a little bit more raise, because and maybe a lot of raise, maybe $5 more an hour is considered a big raise, but they deserve it. They work really hard. But if we could just hire a few more caregivers and fill those beds, you have so much overhead cost in a nursing home to heat the building and insurance and all that, that if we could just get those additional dollars to give our caregivers a raise, then we could fill those beds and get these people out of the hospitals and take care of them. And when Candace mentioned the cost report, she's right. Our desk audit for our 2020 cost report isn't even done. They had to stop with rural nursing homes. They started auditing them, and then they stopped, and they went and focused on the city, the Minneapolis nursing homes, and did their desk audits. And so we're still waiting. Our rates could change back to like 2021, I believe, is when the rates could go back. So, I think that rural nursing homes need to be treated the same as the facilities in the metro area. Thank you for listening to me.
No, thank you too. And that's the whole feeling at the Capitol right now. All focus, all resources are all hands on deck on Minneapolis and St. Paul, Hennepin and Ramsey County, and to heck with the rest of the state. And we fight every single day, long hours into the middle of the night with that exact point, and it just falls on deaf ears. So I'm so glad that you guys are. I hope everybody on the Health and Human Services Committee in both the Senate and the House are taking your appointments. And if they aren't, make sure you get a facility. Yeah, I'm guessing that's a no.
That's a no.
I heard.
No.
Yep. They claim they're too busy and they're only listening to constituents. And I'm just so sad and losing sleep over this, as I know Senator Abler is, because it's been our number one priority. When they took the majority in 2023, the first thing they did was get rid of my committee, the Aging and Long-Term Care Committee, where we could focus on these issues, and we made some strides, and we were going to continue to, and then they just tossed it aside. So I am frustrated for you guys, and I don't know what we can do except to continue to fight for you and try to get to Representative Fisher and Senator John Hoffman. I think we have a better chance with Hoffman, but then he has to go into battle with the House. I think you have more support on the Senate side than you do on the House side.
Yes.
So it's just something we're going to have to continue to support Hoffman in his battles with his own party in conference committee.
Right.
How much time do we have?
Like 5 more minutes.
Okay.
I'll stop.
Before the budget is
I
done.
mean to get this job done at the legislature.
Yeah, right. We're knocking on all kinds of doors. I left lots of messages, at least 5, with a legislative assistant for Chair Mohammed Noor, and I get absolutely 0, 0, 0. And I had the same experience with Governor Waltz. He, kind of grew up on his profession 30 miles away from here. I went to the Capitol. I hid behind a pillar until he got off the podium, and I said, "You and I have to talk." And he said yes, but I didn't want to, be too pushy. So I backed off, and the veterans were there for his benefit. But and then Senator Amy Klobuchar on our front page says, "Senator pledges support for nursing homes." We said to her on Saturday the same thing, and she said, "That's the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it," and she understands exactly how important it is. We even got 71 people lined up to go on 2 buses, and that was on the 13th, and because of miscommunications, we didn't get to do that. But on the 9th of January, we took 34 people in a bus from 6 counties, and we were up there, and we sat in on the meeting with John Huffman, and for some miscommunication, I don't know how it happened, and I certainly wouldn't blame John Huffman, we didn't get to have the person that was prepared to testify to show up. And I say, this doesn't sound like government. It sounds, I thought we had an open democracy. The doors are slammed shut. That's the impression. And we've tried 24/7 You know, and we've got people right here. That whole room is full of people. And we had 2 listening Zoom sessions last week, and we had 25 come up to our city council, and one time it was 38, and we've probably got, you know, close to 30 right now. And I just say, I don't like to be that disagreeable, but you know, if that's what it's going to take, what alternatives do we have? That's why I really am looking for, you know, we'll go and talk to John Huffman again, and he pleads that we do this, but I want to know where are those key people that we're supposed to push on the button so that they kind of go and talk to their other DFLers that are unconscious or have no ears or no eyes or no conscience, I don't know what it is, and tell them, you know, this is not an option. This is moral imperative.
So realistically, for the budget, how much time do we have before they make their final budget?
So we've got another few weeks, and then it goes to conference committee. So you still have time, and
Okay.
I think to Doctor's point there, that's the feeling we get across the board in every single committee. I'm the lead on the bonding committee. We've got an $18 billion surplus, and the Democrats plan a $2 billion bonding bill. They're only hearing Democrat bills. So half the state is being completely left out. She's only hearing Democrat projects, all again for Hennepin and Ramsey County. So if you're in greater Minnesota, good luck to you for getting any roads and bridges fixed. So my recommendation when you're saying who are the key people, there are Democrat legislators in greater Minnesota that really need to be contacted, like Senator Kupak in the Moorhead area. He sees it every day. The long-term care facilities are solving this over in North Dakota, but not in Minnesota. So he needs to be contacted if you have any other facilities there and constituents that can contact him. Also, Grant Housechild, he's up on the Iron Range. He's another one that is having this same nursing home crisis. Well, I mean, we're having it across the state, but it's even more dire in greater Minnesota. So those two especially, if you can get in contact with anybody, or even through the long-term care imperative, to get a meeting with him and make sure it's a constituent or a family member of somebody that is either on the waiting list or a personal story to get to be in the home. Get to those two guys in addition to Hoffman, but because they only have the Senate by one member, it's 34-33, and we just need one of them to vote with us. And we're hoping it's John Hoffman, but I don't know.
You know Natalie Zelenikar?
No.
She's a representative. She hugged us when she saw us at the Capitol. She actually voted against a portion of that bill because she said if you push through, if I got it right, to give money to the assisted living and to the people with personal care attendants, they're going to absolutely ignore skilled nursing. That has to be kind of carved out and say this has to get money, because if it doesn't, it's going to disappear. It's like going down the river of no return. So she still is a nursing home administrator, and she talked a lot of sense. She knew exactly what we were talking about. So those other two, again, the names, did you get them, Wendy?
I got it. I
Kupak?
got it covered.
Yep. Okay, good. Yep, Kupak and Housechild. Two guys.
Kupak. Okay, we have another person who wants to add her wisdom.
Hi, excuse me, I'm Mary Ellen Domeyer. I'm a retired bank president and someone who's been involved with helping build Oak Hills facility as well as their very first edition, facilitating some campaigns. And then there's other personal and professional things that have been impacted by Oak Hills. What I wanted to bring up is while we're focusing on human services and particularly the aging component, every committee at the state legislature should be concerned about this because it has an economic development impact. It has rural America impact. It has ag impact. It impacts every one of our committees. So if there's a way to engender support from everyone to realize that if our rural nursing homes fail, other aspects of state economy are going to be impacted. So I just wanted to pull that into the equation as well, not knowing that there's anything today we can do, but I think it's important it happen now rather than a little later. Too late. Thank you so much for your support.
Oh, thank you. That was part of my conversation yesterday too. I said, when you start forcing seniors to move to the cities, their family members are going to come down. We're already losing farms every single day across the state. And that's the backbone of who we are as a state in the country is food. And you're right, it should be in every single committee, but the way the legislature rolls, if it doesn't have the right language in there, it's only going to go to the HHS committee.
Seems you could round up all those committees in one room and we'll just show up.
I like your ideas.
I do too. We know how to, herd them in.
Yep.
Anybody else in the audience that wants to comment? For Senator, here we have somebody who's coming, who's the chair of the Memorial Foundation of our nonprofit, community-owned nursing home.
Hi, Senator Housley. This is Mike Firth. I'm the board chair currently for our foundation board for Oak Hills Living Center. And as puzzling as this all is to me, please remind some of your Democratic counterparts that Democrats grow old and go to nursing homes too. And so it's not just all of the Democrats in the metro who are going to go to metro nursing homes. There's some that are out here in outstate Minnesota in nursing homes as well. And there is not possibly enough room for all of us to move to the cities and live in the nursing homes. So anyway, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Democrat Senator Steve Swazinski is going through this situation with his own mother right now. And he came to me the other day and he said, because this is like my baby, being an advocate for seniors in our facilities across the state is like what I live and breathe there. And so he came to me and he said, "Whoa, I need your help. Like I had no idea how complicated this was and trying to navigate this for my mom." And I said, "Yeah, and just wait till there's going to be no place for your mom to go. Then what are you going to do?" So it's like you just said, it's getting to them. This doesn't have a D or an R behind it. This is everybody. This is
Exactly.
taking care of people.
Right.
And that's what they're missing in the whole realm of things. Is this is what you do. This is what we are here to do, is to take care of our people, and it's just not happening. And it breaks my heart and your heart, and it's a huge crisis.
Senator Housley, you named a couple of names. Could you have your wonderful legislative assistant, Angela McDonald, please shoot an email to us, because we want to get the right names, because we're going to go after it.
Good,
Starting
that's great.
This afternoon.
Okay, it's gonna help. Thank you for organizing these. You are very, very organized.
She's
I like your whole
amazing.
setup.
Is it?
It's very,
Yeah,
very
thank
upset for a very, very good reason. Yeah.
Keep on keeping on, and if we need to have another meeting in the next couple of weeks, just let me know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
so
you,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, you guys. Tim, I didn't get to say hi to you, but hello, Tim Renke.
Oh, yeah, Tim Reinke, he was going to say something. Is he
Yeah,
gone?
go ahead, Tim.
Where's
Yeah,
Tim?
he's on.
He's on.
He may not be on.
was gonna-
Thanks
he-
again for your time and support, Senator. It just kind of, it's mind boggling. I'm like what Mike said. It's puzzling that people in the Capitol can just look the other way on this issue. It just, I don't understand it. Are they not human beings? It's just, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm certainly heartbroken like you are. And my mother was a resident at Oak Hills and was taken care of extremely well. Phenomenal people, phenomenal staff. And to be part of what is going on now is very difficult, not only for myself and my family, but for our community as well. And I see how hard everybody is working to break through, to push the right button, as Doc Ann would say. I'm just hoping we can do it. Time is not on our side at the moment.
Thanks, Tim. I agree with you 100%. And we do have to get something done quicker. I think the question to ask when you're contacting those other folks is, with an $18 billion surplus, what is more important than taking care of our seniors across the state? Like, what is more important than that? Is it a Somali museum in downtown Minneapolis because there's money going there? Look at all of the things that they're spending money on when this is you're in dire need for housing for seniors. They're spending $1 billion for homelessness prevention in Minnesota, and yet nothing for seniors. So, right, and the seniors are going to be homeless.
Right.
Yes.
So it's just, I think, ask those questions like, what are you spending the money on? And is that really more important than taking care of seniors in these facilities and these people who work so hard that work in these places? You can make more money working at McDonald's or Kohl's than you can at. It's just, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Mary
So
Polta?
yes. Oh yeah, another person.
Yes, my name is Mary Polter. The thing that I've heard most here was regarding the information that is not accurate for some of the people, that there is a money already set aside. How can that be clarified for people that are not aware? Or they're just assuming it's already handled, it sounds like to me. And if it's not, how can that be corrected?
And I think that's probably John Hoffman heard you when you said that. And I think it was the House, Peter Fisher, that was confused with it. So I'll make sure I'll circle back with Senator Abler and Senator Hoffman, who are the two leads on that committee and that bill, to make sure that the language is correct in the bill so that it is carved out, to make sure that that money is going there. If that money is truly there, is that where it's going to? I'll make sure that that language is correct and check with them, and I'll give Representative Peter Fisher a call too. He's probably going to avoid me too, but I'll still try.
Just
Thank
keep
you.
going.
Keep
Thank you for
going.
your work on it.
Will there be
Thank you.
specific money in the bonding bill for some of these rural homes like ours that it's at a point in age where it really needs a lot of things done? And the bid we had was now at 17 million, going up daily. Is there money in the bonding bill for that?
Who is your senator? Bill Weber?
Gary
Gary
Dames.
Dames.
Gary Dames. I think he did author something like that, but it's currently not in the bonding bill. No,
See?
it is not.
Right.
Nope.
And yeah, time is of essence. We had a great big hourglass, and I said the sand is going down pretty quick, and we feel like we're the voice in the wilderness. And
You guys are awesome.
yep,
Thank you
it's-
for all the work that you do.
Senator
Super
Housley,
important.
I have one other comment that
Yep.
I'd like to just put light on. We've done everything that we've been asked to do. We recruit our young high school kids to come in and work in long-term care, and hopes that they will continue to want to.
she had to go to her next meeting, maybe. But we can still, Mike, you can get Candace's comments, right? Okay, keep going.
And so we've done everything that we've been asked to do. We recruit. Hi, Senator Housley. I was just commenting on the fact that we've done everything that we've been asked to do. We've recruited our young high schoolers to, have them be interested in a future in healthcare, and we've even participated in the scholarship program for many, many years, where we have paid for the nurses to become registered nurses. And what's happening is now they're leaving us because we are unable to pay a livable wage, and they're going with temporary staffing agencies and getting paid triple of what they can be making locally here. So they're having to leave our communities, which they want to stay. They want to be able to continue caring for people in the New Ulm area, yet they can't turn away that type of wages, and our wages are just too low. So I just wanted to. I know you are well aware of that issue, but that is just something that has really been a struggle for us.
Actually,
And
somebody
it is a struggle because you invest all of that in that person, in the training, and you get them involved in a career that they would actually like to stay with.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you can't blame them for when they leave, because they too have their own families that they have to take care of. And so the salary somewhere else is of course going to take them away. So it's all backwards and wrong and needs to get fixed.
Somebody said maybe, you know, the state could invest and say to some of these people, you stay at our nursing home as an employee, get an increased wage, but then for the first year or two, 20% of your child care we're going to pay for. And if you stay 3 years, maybe 30. By the time you get to 5 years, it'll be 50%, and eventually there'll be a cap. But, you know, our people live over here, and then they go over there for their kids, and then they come over here on the county roads, and that's where they work. And then they go on the reverse. And if we help them
Yeah.
with, and that kind of, I think would be a reasonable incentive, and it would be very worthwhile for the state.
Yeah, it would. Need to get creative with solutions, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you
Okay,
so much
so-
for your time today. You've given us so much time. We're very grateful, and all your suggestions. It's wonderful.
Thank you. And I will have Angelique email you, Doctor, with those contacts that I said you should get a hold of. And then honestly, if you want to Zoom again in a few weeks, just let me know.
We will,
And
and
if
I
you
know
want to
that
add
she'll
any
respond.
numbers, any people to that list, just feel free to tell your assistant, and she'll get in touch with us.
Awesome.
That's above
All
and
right.
beyond. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Wayne, you had something. Haber? Yes. You were going to raise your hand about something?
I raised my hand, I don't know if I have to go up there, but I'll talk loud.
Okay,
I'm kind of wondering how you can be effective going to the Capitol. It's a business I was in years ago, I practically lived up there lobbying for our business. And it got to the point where we ended up hiring a lobbyist because we couldn't get enough people to keep going up there and lobby. So have you ever tried a lobbyist individually in different areas?
Yeah.
And then you keep bringing up the price and the salaries. I have no idea what they get paid here, so I can't go up there and say, I think they need more money. I don't know what they're getting paid right now. Lobbyists would know all that, and maybe a lobbyist costs too much, I don't know.
tell them about it.
Yeah, so we pay dues to, it's an organization called Leading Age Minnesota. So we pay dues, our annual dues, and they have an advocacy team that they're at the Capitol every day.
Paid staff.
They have a paid staff.
I'm not just talking to Oak Hills, I mean the whole
Yep, the whole, yeah, all the nursing homes, assisted livings, we all are part of leading age or care providers in Minnesota. And they have paid advocacy teams to be at the Capitol advocating for us. But there's something about seeing people that are, that are working it every day. That's why we have made the decision to kind of step up our game to be able to be in front of some of our legislators, because it makes a difference when they're hearing from people that are actually living it and working it on a daily basis.
You know, Wayne, Living Age,
Gotta get closer to the microphone, man.
I'm aware of that organization, and I've heard from other people they're very reputable. They've been in the business for decades, but I think they're kind of blindsided. That's been my impression, that, they're interested in helping assisted living and personal care attendants, but the orphan out here is skilled nursing. And I really didn't feel that supported as an individual by that organization, and I don't want to say anything negative about them. I just think that they kind of missed the focus on this piece. And that's why all of us just finally said, well, I guess it's us. So we just got on buses and did all kinds of things. That was my read on it.
Yeah, much as Senator Housley said, leading age and care providers, they are lobbying for skilled nursing, but because a lot of the larger organizations in the state that have very large long-term care organizations are all based in the Twin Cities, there is no one specifically advocating for Greater Minnesota right now, except for Doc Ann and us. We pay dues to the lobbying organization who lobbies for the whole state, but because those main providers are in the metro, that's who gets the airtime.
So Divine Providence also belongs to Leading Age. And so when you pay this membership due, it's not only for lobbying. They also, like during the pandemic, like we're a standalone facility like Oak Hills, and think about all those regs that came out and you couldn't read them. They came out on a Friday afternoon usually from the Minnesota Department of Health, and you had to try and read through them. So Leading Age was very helpful in making policies and templates that we could tweak for our own facilities. So they do so much more than lobbying than for our membership. But Leading Age themselves have asked us to be, like Candace said, they want to hear personal stories, like from you, of how seniors can't get into the facilities. And they want to hear personal stories from the caregivers on the front lines that have had to work all these extra hours. They want to hear these personal stories. So that's why, I think that's what part of this was to get the personal stories out there. But you're right, there's a place for that lobbyist. They know who to talk to and who to, they're up there every day, like Candace said.
Connie Grams.
I have a question. So we repeatedly hear that Republicans are endorsing the concept of additional funding. Okay, so are we trying to contact the DFLers and not getting past the door? I mean, have we tried Jeff Brand and Nick France from down the road?
Nick France, we Zoomed with him at Oak Hills. We
Okay.
saw Jeff Brandt, we Zoomed with him at Oak Hills. So, and they gave us a couple suggestions, but I was looking for the names of people. That's why I'm hoping we get those names. Because you look at the list and you go, oh my gosh, there isn't enough
They were
days in the
supportive.
year.
They were very supportive.
They were supportive. I think the roadblock is the Democrats in the metro area and Governor Walz. And Doc Ann has reached out to all of them several times with no reply at all.
I did send Governor Walz a long one after the meeting last week.
Good.
It's very easy to email him. I just sent one to
Right.
Nick France too during this meeting.
Did you get a response?
Well, not yet. I'm waiting.
You know what I get? It says something, one of them said, this is not being monitored. Thank you very much for your whatever, and that
Yeah.
was it.
It's like, well, I felt better because I sent it.
Yeah, you get
Right.
standard. Thank you. Don't
But I think Amy Klobuchar is gonna speak to him.
I hope so. I hope she made
And I
that
said, the
phone
only
call.
other, somebody even suggested, well, why don't you go down there and, just be there between 10 and 2 when his office is open to the public and see if you can see him. But I said, what if I'm up there that day and he's not in at all? I mean, we're not stupid.
But I think the biggest thing for Greater Minnesota, like Jana said, is they stopped doing desk audits. I mean, they stopped working on Greater Minnesota. So unless something changes, that's
Well, we're gonna get John Huffman again and let him know of, we've got a long litany of the things that we attempted and how many doors were slammed in our face. And I guess what else? Yes.
Do we have the list of
Oh.
people on the Human Services
it's on the
on
website.
the website? So, and we've contacted all those DFLers?
We have contacted many.
Many, and there's more that we can.
Can we get a list of them? I've sent emails to Fisher, Abler, Nora, and it all came back to me, they wouldn't take it.
Right, those are the ones that we did. So we can go down the list. There's a Wickland. Senator Doms called me Saturday night one time, and we talked on the phone for a half an hour. And I said, give me some names. You know those people up there, even if they're on the other side of the fence from where you live. And he said Wickland, so that's another one. But I can tell you, I can get up at 8 o'clock in the morning or a lot earlier, and you're just on the phone the whole while, and you get no response. But I think you just have to keep doing that. It's kind of like digging for gold, I guess.
Don't you think it would make more impact if we were up at the Capitol and sitting in his lobby and waiting visibly? Because if all we're hearing is, we support you, that's not getting us anywhere. They support us, but what are they doing about it?
Right, well, we had the two buses, 71 people all lined up, and all of a sudden we got torpedoed on that and said, well, that day has been set aside for a ceremonial recognition of Native Americans. And I talked to Representative Torkelson at the farm show, and he said, well, I can't imagine that you didn't know about that. That's been on the calendar for a whole year. So we said, well, how come somebody didn't tell us? We were telling everybody what we were doing, including at least I thought, Leading Age was aware of this, and maybe they just got blindsided with the metro area as well. I mean, finally, we said, we can't take these people up there if we're going to meet nobody. Wouldn't that be just a shame? So we got on the phone. 3 of us were up in the library behind the book stacks, all on our cell phones saying, you can't come because no one's going to be there. And then we had got on the same thing and told them, now we're going to do Zoom meetings. So we're the same 3 people behind the book stacks up at the library on our cell phones telling people this is going to happen. And then Wendy was sending out a lot of messages, and Brian Filson's been very helpful. I've asked him to, put it on the radio, and he's caught a couple of people that way. And I can tell you the Journal's been very good. Clay was on the first bus. He rode all the way up with us and all the way back. He was going to have somebody else come on the 2 buses. So we went up here on the 9th. Then we were supposed to go on the 13th because that was supposed to be Leading Age Day. And it was. But, our 47 people, our 74 people didn't come. They said one year they had like 125 from the whole state. Well, I said, let's try and get 4 buses. Well, that was kind of, crazy. But by the time we got 2 buses lined up, they were all willing to pay $25 to help pay for the bus. It's $1,500 per bus. And I talked with the people at Thielen, and he and I were going back and forth. And he was good enough to hold 4 buses till I said, I think you can go and take those other buses for some other business. And then the last minute, 72 hours before we left, I said, I'm so sorry. The 71 people aren't going.
So if people want to know who are the members of the Health and Human Services Committee, you just Google it by Googling Minnesota Health and Human Services Committee. It's chaired by a DFLer, and it meets on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings from 8:30 to 10.
That's John Huffman.
So we could try to go to room 1100 at the Minnesota Senate building for one of their meetings.
You are welcome to do that. That's a
question, has anybody else experienced what she's experienced? She's written 4 or 5 legislators, and they bounce back undeliverable. Is that a technical issue, or is it?
Mine went through. They didn't bounce back.
Okay.
I think mine went through, I just got no response.
That's right. Right.
Hers was.
I got that during the pandemic. Thanks for, the governor appreciates your support, so they clearly didn't read my message because it wasn't one of support. Yeah. I at least appreciate your support. Some response like that, at least I know something. The latest one, I don't know if it was, so.
They get so many letters and stuff like that. They just chuck them aside.
You're right. It's a lot.
Big pile of stuff sitting there, and they aren't gonna look. They don't get.
Actually, I sent 2 small little packages to the First Lady at her mansion, and I sent it to him too. And I said, cyberspace must not be working, so this is why I'm going to send it to you in a little plastic box inside the box. And there was a snail shell. And I said, this is coming to you by special delivery snail shell delivery. And then I tried to, say, we appreciate what you're doing. Here's a little bit of humor. Physicians know that comic relief is healthy. It has no bad side effects. And then I did something similar. And then I talked to Lori Salner, who, campaigns over in Sleepy Eye. And she mentioned that. She said, oh, by the way, she said, the First Lady did get your box because somebody mentioned to Josh Nye, the push button that she pushes, he wanted to know if you could open it, it would get through security. And she did open it. So, I was trying every technique that I possibly could. But, saying, you and I need to talk, at least it was an I deal. He knew me because I was the interim medical director for Open Door for 5 years for the uninsured and the underinsured, and he contacted me a couple times and wanted to kind of, take pictures and all this kind of stuff, which I wasn't really too crazy about, to tell what a good job we were doing, which we were. So we know each other. So, I just say, if you don't turn your attitude to the right way, you are morally bankrupt. What else can you say? So I really appreciate all of you being here because, yes?
So if a barrier to this is our DFL legislators in the metropolitan area, am I hearing that right? Don't we all have family members who live in the metropolitan area, and wouldn't it behoove us to talk with those people so that we get them to
That is a good idea.
Anything you can try. That sounds like another idea we haven't been able to try yet, but yes.
I also just wanted to share that several of us were at the Capitol last Thursday, and we were able to attend the the House hearing that was going on, and it was so frustrating. So we had several of the Republican House representatives on the Republican side pleading their case, like Doc Ann stated, if this is a moral decision. And there were the representatives on the Democrat side. First of all, half of the chairs were vacant. I'm not sure where they were at. The others were on their phones. One was sleeping, and we all witnessed this.
I think by you people going out there, you're learning a lot from what you're seeing, how the government's actually working.
Yes.
Because sometimes it ain't working at all.
Right.
Right.
That conversation with Nick France and Jeff Brandt, did they offer any explanation as to why their counterparts don't want to support this?
They didn't offer explanation, but they told us the same thing. Go and, contact more of these people. That's kind of what we see. That's why I'm hoping that Senator Housley will, and I'm sure she will have Angelique send us these names, so we know kind of how we can, load up our guns and shoot at the right target. Yeah, I was thinking maybe we have to get a video done of some of the stuff that we're talking about, and get someone like Jeanette Lonsteiner happens to be a big advocate for her husband who's at Oak Hills. She wouldn't mind my saying this. Paul is there. He's a veteran, and he finally got to Oak Hills where his family was, and they can come and see him. I'm sure she wouldn't mind if we took a picture of Paul and Jeanette. I mean, those kinds of things. They have some interviews. We got enough people that know this videography stuff in town. I mean, there's one name that always comes to my mind, and that's Adam Tools, and he's very good at it. Maybe we can, find out if we can hire him to do this. He's more than reasonable. And then, if we get it up there, do we have to be up there and say, okay, here's our camera crew. Now, here's the screen. Watch this. Because if we just send it up there, who knows? It probably lie in some corner. I mean, isn't that awful that you have to try that hard?
So if you have family in the metro, I think Senator Housley was saying that, if there's constituency in the metro that can call and contact their legislators, that's a great idea. I know Candace and I have talked, we're still, well, Candace is, and I still work there, are running Oak Hills. So we still have to work on Oak Hills every day. We need other facilities in greater Minnesota to have a Doc Ann. We're so grateful for her to be advocating for them as well. So if you can advocate for us, if you can have your families advocate for us, we still do the good work of taking care of the residents at Oak Hills every day. So we're doing the best we can.
Mary Ellen Dolmeyer lives at Center City Apartments. Maybe there's people there that actually have people in the Twin Cities. We get that message out to them.
The point I was trying to make, then we're stretching our limited resources too far, that every legislator should be here.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mary Ellen, yes.
And so from the economic development side to urban development, arts and everything else, all of those causes that they're making plans for now, and are they thinking any further than the end of their nose? What's the impact? Don't have necessary. And this, when I was more active about Oak Hills, we had some engagement association that and know some of those areas in the iron. What are you join us in this? And similarly,
Leading age, you're talking about?
well, now I'm not talking leading.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're talking about the individual providers that are up in those areas.
Well, you belong to a
Right.
nursing home association of some sort.
Yeah, and that's leading age. Yes, yeah. And then it's the long-term care imperative that is something that leading age and care providers work together.
Met with some people from other nursing homes, so through them, you probably know some personally.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'm on every other week I'm on a hour phone call with other rural administrators. Are you part of that?
Yeah.
And so we're touching base on this, and everyone's kind of doing, doing their advocacy in their areas. But I'll bring that up at I think we have a meeting on Thursday. But yeah, we'll see if there's something that we can try to maybe work together.
Talking about reaching out to people we know in the metro area, can Oak Hills Divine, can you let the family of your residents know what's going on? Because I think a lot of your residents have family members living in the Twin Cities, and they're clueless about what's going on down here at this level. And I'm not sure, now my mom is at Oak Hills, and, I don't know if there's if other family members of residents know the area situation you're in. So are you able to send a letter out to family members of your residents and ask them for their dedicated newsletter?
I sent one out this morning.
Yeah,
We send one every month.
Yeah, we're very active with.
Who gets that though? I don't, where does that information go?
It either goes directly to the resident if they can make their own decisions and they're their own, decision maker. If they aren't, then it goes to the first person on the list that's their power of attorney or who makes their, decisions on clinical decisions, things like that. So if you are listed, you should be receiving it.
And if you're not receiving it and you would like to, just let me know and I will add you to the list. We also have put things in the newspaper. We've been on KEYC.
Right to the editor.
We've been on KNUJ. So we have certainly.
A document that's get in the mail, or is it an email?
It has been an email, and it has been sent with the statements which go to the first person on the list, if there is a statement. Occasionally, about 3 times a year, I send it to everybody.
Newsletter?
Yes, as a newsletter.
Go inside there and you can pick up the copy. 'cause
There's a
I've got
copy
it.
inside the door as well.
Right, you just help yourself.
Could there be, again, a standalone, just help, we need your help.
Absolutely. I will absolutely do that. I will send something separate.
Wendy and I are going to be getting an article in the newspaper. She's going to be the ghostwriter. Because I said, you don't want me to get started. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Ellen.
Okay.
Mary Ellen.
And the New Cat has another thing to go to, so we can